up, traders? Zach here from the Trading Network. Hope you guys are doing well and that your week is off to a good start. It is Tuesday, June 22nd, and I've got another daily market profile recap for everybody for both the ES and the NQ futures markets. So let us dive right into the market profile, beginning with the key levels for the ES, or the S&P 500 futures. The first key level that I was looking at was 42.2625. That was the most recent overnight high. You can see that level right here. Second key level I was looking at was the prior value area high, which was at 42.16. The third level that I was looking at was the prior point of control. You can see that this was actually a naked point of control, and it was closed today in the initial balance, which is the first hour of the session, the first hour of New York session to be precise. And that naked POC was right here at 42.0675. Fourth key level that I was looking at was the prior value area low. You guys can see that down here at 41.9375. And we had some good confluence in that area as well, with the previous value area low from the June 16th session, as well as the low, or the range low, from that session as well at 41.9025. So last but not least, below that, I was looking quite a ways lower at this 41.77 level, and we actually came down and touched this 41.77 level in yesterday's session, and this was the overnight high from the June 20th into June 21st overnight session, or Globex session. So that takes care of the key levels for ES. Let's go ahead and hop on over to the NQ profile, or the NASDAQ futures, and I will do the same thing. I'll clean things up a little bit, and we will get into the key levels, starting with the overnight high at 14.179. You can see that right here. Very similar to ES, where we started off. Our first key level was the overnight high as well. And you guys will notice a ton of confluence when comparing both of the ES and NQ profiles, especially if you are trading and analyzing those on a daily basis. So the second key level that I was looking at on the NQ was 14.140. 14.140 was the overnight point of control. You can see that right here on our trade plan. And below that, I was looking at 14.111, which yet again was a naked POC from yesterday's session. And this was a naked POC because this was a point of control that was not touched in a regular trading hour session since it was created. So last night, after this closed, this POC was all the way extended to the end of the chart. And today, when we opened up, we came down, we tapped that level, we closed that naked POC, and we can just view that as a prior POC, as you see down here. It's PPOC. So when you guys are looking at my trade plans and you see these abbreviations, PPOC is prior POC, ONPOC is overnight POC, ONH, overnight high, ONL, overnight low, PVL, prior value area low. So that's, the value area low from the previous regular trading hour session. We got PVH, this is prior value area high. So in this case, this is today's value area high, and this is the prior value high and the prior value low. So PVH, PVL, and I think that takes care of it for the abbreviations on the chart, at least currently. So moving on into the further levels, or the further key levels on NQ, I was looking at the 14.66 level down below, and that was the overnight low from the prior session. That is the June 21st into June 22nd Globex session, and a lot of good confluence in this area as well, with the overnight lows, prior POC from last Friday's session. You can see we have that value area low at 79 right there. We've got 67 prior value area high, 54, 55, 48. So a lot of confluence in this area. So this is a very important area to hold, just as a side note. Now, last but not least, I was looking at the prior value area low, just 10 points below that. And my thought was, if we broke down below this prior value area low, then we're very likely to visit these levels down here from 14,005 down to 13,960, 13,950-ish area. So scrolling on down here, we'll get into my pre-market analysis, starting with the news events headline risk. We did have Jay Powell testifying today, so really not a huge deal in my opinion. Just kind of like to stay flat for when the event is starting, because typically some volatility and price swings will happen, and I really don't like to get caught up. Now, moving into the rest of the pre-market analysis, the overnight inventory was relatively balanced on ES and NQ once again. This means that a majority of price action was not above or below settlement, but settlement is closer to splitting the profiles. So you can see settlement here. Here's the overnight profile. And if we switch over to NQ, we flip our levels back on, you can see something very similar where settlement is basically right in the middle of the overnight profile, showing us that the overnight inventory is balanced and that there has not been a change in sentiment or a change in directional conviction or any development of a directional conviction for that matter. So at the time of writing, we were looking to open inside Monday's range and value. So this was Monday's range right here. This is yesterday's range, 185-point range, and we were looking to open within the value area of that range as well on NQ. And ES, here is ES's value area, 41.93 to the downside, 42.16 is value area high, and here is the range from yesterday, 54.25. So that is for the second session in a row, for what it's worth. This means that there has been little to no change in sentiment since the previous regular trading hours session. Because we're opening inside of range and value, we are more likely to see ranging price action until a major level breaks and holds on one side. So that is what I'm looking for, and that was what I was looking for this morning in regards to my line in the sand level. And you guys can see as we move into our further analysis, today I was looking at the prior range highs as the line in the sand levels on both ES and NQ. So the line in the sand level on ES was 42.19. This is the prior range high. Flipping over to NQ, line in the sand level was 14.144. So this should make sense to you guys if you've been watching my videos. If we open up and we move and hold above the high from the previous session, as well as the overnight high, if that's above that, prior range high, that is very, very bullish. That is telling us that the higher time frame players, the larger players, are viewing price at these higher levels as fair value, which means they're interested in buying, and they're going to be interested in buying until they view that price is too expensive. So this was moving into my line in the sand levels. You can see that both the highs for NQ and ES from yesterday were my line in the sand, and if we could move and hold above those, I was looking for upwards directional conviction to develop and a continuation into the highs from June 16th, which you can see is exactly what happened. So here's the highs, 14.199, 14.204. We moved up through those highs, made new highs, and you can see as I'm making this video, we are currently, pushing new all-time highs. We are making new all-time highs in the overnight session. And as a side note, when we make new highs in the overnight, we're very likely to go and test those in the following regular trading hour session. So keep that in mind as well, guys. All right, so before I get on any more tangents, check this out. If we could not move and hold above these levels, I was looking for a move back to test the value area lows on ES and NQ at 41.93 and 14.56 respectively. So 14.56, this level down here, we could not move below. We actually did get to this prior POC. We tapped that naked POC and we got bought up very, very quickly. Moving over to ES, you can see this value area low. I was looking for a move down through this to 41.93 if we couldn't hold. And I just want to point something out to you guys. It's so cool to me still. I've been doing this for years, and it's still so fascinating to me that ES and NQ especially, I mean, look how orderly it is. Price uses yesterday's POC and the overnight low as today's low. Moving over to NQ, price uses yesterday's POC as today's low. Very, very cool stuff. One thing that I also want to show you guys is if we take the measurement of yesterday's profile of 185 points and we superimpose that over today's low, we get a near perfect measurement into where today's high was within 13 points. Okay, this is called projecting the next day's range based on the previous session size. And this is discussed heavily in Jim Dalton's book, Mind Over Markets. And if you guys are interested in the market profile, I would certainly suggest checking that book out first and foremost. And if you guys want to learn more, feel free to leave a comment down below, and I will be happy to get back to you and answer any questions you have about the profile. So I wanted to point that out. I'll do this measured move on ES as well so you guys can see. If you take the measurement from the previous session, superimpose it over the new high or the new low, right? Low of day from yesterday's session. Jim says something like, if you superimpose the level over the new day's potential extreme, which is, the new session's high of day or the low of day. And you can see that today, the POC and the overnight low in ES's case was the low of day. So ES didn't get that full extension up to this area, but I would be looking at a move back to 42.61. You can see that that is also confluent with our prior high that we made in this overnight session. So keep that in mind. Watch this level. Watch this 42.61, 42.58-ish zone, if you will. And I will say I do believe that it's a pretty good probability that we will move up into that level tomorrow if we can hold this structure. All right, so moving down into the scenarios, once again, upon open, I was looking at the prior range highs, 42.19 and 14.144. If we could move and hold above those highs, well, you guys know the deal. I was looking for a move into these prior levels from the market profile on ES and NQ, and that is exactly what we got. We were making new highs on NQ. So let us move down into the summary, and we will review the targets here. So let's start off. I'll scroll down, actually, and we'll start off with the NQ targets today because I've got the NQ profile pulled up. I'll hide these levels once again, and let us dig in. Line in the sand, 14.144 right here, prior range high. So first upside target was 14.157. 14.157 was the prior point of control from the June 17th regular trading hours session. You can see this right here. This should have been a naked POC. Sometimes NinjaTrader will make an error, but we technically didn't revisit this 14.157 level until today. So this should have been a naked POC that closed today. So that's something to keep in mind if you guys are curious about that, looking at the profile. Second upside target, I was looking at 14.179. That was the overnight high. That was another level that we almost hit in the initial balance, almost in that first hour. We got within less than 3 points, actually, but we very, very swiftly moved into that level in E period after we moved and held above that overnight high at 14.179. So 14.184 was that third upside target. 14.184 was the overnight point of control from the June 17th into June 18th Globex session. And moving on into the second to last target, which was the 14.199 level that we just spoke about a few minutes ago. That was the range high from the June 17th regular trading hours session. Okay, so after we moved through these highs, there was basically nowhere to go because we were making new all-time highs, right? And when I say nowhere to go, I mean I didn't really have any levels to look at, right? So when we are in blue sky breakout territory, I use things like VWAP bands and things like Fibonacci pivots to help guide me. So you guys can see that we have not, obviously moved up into these levels yet, but the Fibonacci pivots are projecting these levels. And my last upside target was 14.265. And if I scroll back here, you can see that R3 today was printed at 14.265. So when we broke out, that was the area that I was looking towards. And I actually have some of my trades from today on recording, so I'll be posting some videos with those and breakdowns. But just an example of how you can use predictive indicators like VWAP deviations and Fibonacci pivots to your advantage in blue sky breakout territory, trading the indices especially. All right, so moving back into the profile, you guys can see that the last upside target was indeed hit, 14.265. That was Fibonacci pivot R3 that we just looked at. And above that, I didn't really have anything because that was really the last higher level that I had, other than the measured move from the profile, which was very, very close. Just to reiterate what that level was, measured move from the profile using yesterday's POC, that was projected to 14.298. So a little bit above today's high ultimately. So on the downside, you can see that it was pretty short and sweet. We did indeed move into two of our downside targets. First one being 14.126. 14.126 was the overnight high from the Globex session from the June 20th into 21st session. And the last downside target that we hit was 14.111, and that was yesterday's POC that we ended up using as today's low within about 4 points. So we had all of the upside targets hit. We had 2 out of 5 upside targets hit. So there was indeed quite a bit of opportunity off of our market profile levels, off of our key levels in both sides of the market today. So really, regardless of how long you were trading, if you were able to pay attention to price reacting to those market profile levels, you were very likely able to take some high probability trade opportunity, especially if you guys are using tools like the Trading Network proprietary indicator package down here, like the opportunity zone and the VWAP deviations and these oscillators, of course. So moving back into the profile, we will scroll up a tad and get into ES. So ES, line in the sand level, just like NQ, we are looking at the prior range high along with quite a few other levels from the previous sessions. So the first level that we were looking at on the upside was 14,226. 14,226 was the overnight high, and we did have to be a bit patient to get that level hit. We had a pretty small initial balance. It was about 13 points or so. So we did not hit our first upside target technically until we moved above the overnight, or I'm sorry, the overnight POC and the prior range high 1 hour into the session. So the second upside target was just a couple points above that, and that was 42.28. That was a prior range high from June 16th. The third upside target was 42.33. That was the initial balance from that same June 16th session. The next upside target that I was looking at above 42.33 was 42.41.50, which was, you guys guessed it, the high from that June 16th session right there. Now, last but not least, we had 42.48 as my last upside target, which we did not hit. We got within 3 points of that. But with that said, we had a lot of great opportunity on the upside, and we had some opportunity on the downside in the first hour of the session as well. So again, just like NQ, if you can be patient, if you can drop your bias and just say, okay, these are the major levels that I'm looking to take trades at and I'm looking to target, then you can really be calm, cool, and collected when you're entering your trades, even in a high volatility New York opening type market environment, which will really help strengthen your trading overall as you practice this and you practice watching the reaction to these profile levels. So on the downside on ES, again, just like NQ, very, very short and sweet, we really only had one level hit. We had 42.06. So if you did take the break of or the rejection of the prior range high overnight POC on the open, you had potentially like a one and done trade that was 13 points from the break of 42.19 down to the naked POC. If you don't see price quickly move up and gravitate away from that naked POC, then you're very likely going to see price move down towards it. And you can see that we actually had two naked POCs. We had one below us and we had one above. So it makes a lot of sense that we moved down, we touched this one, we closed that, we used this as today's low, and then we moved up through this one and we absorbed the liquidity on both sides, and the bulls showed us that fair value was basically above the high. You can see value area high is 42.33, and the majority of our bell curve is above the overnight high and above the prior range high. So that is bullish, and obviously ES is not quite as bullish as NQ at the moment because we're not making new highs as I'm making this, but things look good. I want to see price move above 42.45, and I'd be looking for a move into 42.60 and making new highs then. So with that said, one downside target hit on ES. We had 4 out of 5 upside targets hit on ES there. And again, a lot of opportunity if we're able to be conscious, drop our bias, and use that market profile information to our advantage. I really hope that you guys are finding value in this content. I really do enjoy making it and hearing the feedback from everybody. So if you guys do like what you see, please feel free to like, subscribe, and show some love down below. Again, I really appreciate it. And, it's really motivating to know that I am helping traders get to where they want to be in their careers by posting this content here on YouTube. So with that said, I want to thank you guys immensely for taking the time to watch this content. Again, if you do like what you see, please feel free to like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. So make sure you guys are checking out the links in the description below where you can find access to my free Facebook group where I release these very trade plans that you guys can download, print out for yourself every day at 9:30 a.m. Eastern in this Facebook group. Make sure you guys are joining. Make sure you guys are watching the trade plans, downloading the trade plans, looking at, I post chart images down here as you guys can see. So download these, join the Facebook group, dissect them, and use this information to your advantage. You know, I don't just put this out for fun. I put this out because it helps me, and it helped me so much that I wanted to share it with people for free. So please take advantage of this. I really encourage you guys to check out our group and show some love. In addition to our Facebook group, you can also find a link to our website down below, thetradingnetwork.io, where you can learn more about one-on-one mentorship with me. I offer 4-week programs, 10-week programs, and a few other varying lengths. You can also get access to the Trading Network proprietary indicator package, which you guys saw a little bit of in this video today. In addition to the indicator package, you can join our private Discord group where you can watch me trade live every day at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time. You can ask me questions. It is a two-way Discord stream, so you guys can turn on your microphone, you can watch the stream, you can ask me questions about the setups that I'm taking in real time, and I am happy to answer questions all day, every day in the chat. It is a really great environment for learning how to be a consistently profitable trader. Last but not least, you guys can get access to the Fundamentals of Futures Trading course and the FFT course bundles. The Fundamentals of Futures Trading course is a comprehensive course where I discuss multiple strategies for varying market conditions, such as my trending strategy, the opportunity zone, and my ranging strategy, the momentum flip. The bundle comes with lifetime Discord access as well as the proprietary indicator package, so you can get all three in one, as well as a payment plan to make it a little bit easier on the wallet as well. So if you guys are interested, check out that on the website. Please feel free to hit me up with any questions you have about any of this analysis that I posted or any of the products that I've discussed. As always, if you guys have any questions, you know where to find me: Facebook, Instagram, Discord. Leave a comment here on YouTube, and I will get back to you guys as soon as I possibly can. Thank you so much for watching this content. I appreciate you, and I will see you in the next video.